Oh, I am so sorry for the delay. I was having some technical difficulties. I have used GoToWebinar approximately a million times and never had a problem, so I apologize in advance. I'm just going to start my presentation now that I've got everybody, and hopefully we can really engage you and teach you a lot about cyber liability insurance and take it from there. So my apologies to everyone, and I hope you stuck around, and if you didn't, we'll have recordings for you to pass around your offices, etc. I do have Diane Wagner with us. She is obviously the representative from the First Choice Agents Alliance. She's been an amazing ally in our fight to get cyber liability insurance to everyone. So I want to thank her ahead of time. I also want to tell you that if throughout this process you have any questions, there's a questions box on your screen in the control panel, and just throw them out there and Diane will interrupt me or I will stop and answer your questions at any time. Diane, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, great. So quickly, I just want to walk through a little bit about who we are at Wingman and a little bit about cyber liability insurance, and we'll take it from there. I'm Ellie Feldman. I'm the managing director of Wingman Insurance. One of our primary products is Wingman Cyber, which is an online platform that allows you as agents to quote cyber liability insurance in as little as 60 seconds. We're going to talk today about why you should be selling cyber and how easy it can be when done correctly to sell cyber. So I hope at the end of this you want to work with us. We certainly want to work with you, and I'll get started. One of the things that we are founded on is the idea that when you do something for just a small market, you can do it really well. We do nothing but tech and cyber, and so this is our bread and butter. We're very lucky to have this niche market, and we hope you take advantage of our in-house expertise, and we'll talk more about that later. So why cyber? Why are we talking about this? I mean, we read about it in the news all the time. But I think the biggest hurdle for most agents, and I think Diane would agree, is convincing them that they need cyber. So I'm going to throw out some statistics for you, and you'll notice on your screen that there's a section called handouts. Two of those handouts are going to have this information on it as a sales tool for you guys to help you sell more cyber. So here are some stats that we think will jar your customers into action. 43% of cyber attacks target small businesses. Small businesses really is a bit of a misnomer, but more recent statistics have said about almost 55% of cyber attacks target businesses under 20 million in revenue. So your customers are the actual targets. It's not, ironically enough, just companies like Target that are the targets. We read about those because they're big and scary, but we find that actually the most damage is done at the vulnerable companies, which are much smaller. 77% of small businesses do not believe they are at risk for cyber, which is only a little bit ironic considering 50% of them are going to be hit with a cyber attack this year. And that's my next piece of data. 50%, 1 in 2 companies is going to be hit with something of a cyber breach incident in the next 12 months. 50% have been hit in the past 12 months. Many of them don't even realize it yet, and that's part of the terrifying facts. We'll talk a little bit later about some of the more common cyber attacks and what they look like, and I'll tell you we'll get into more detail on that in future webinars, but just bear in mind that when a small business is hit with a cyber attack, 60% go out of business within 6 months of the breach, because they don't know how to handle it. It's incredibly expensive, and it's absolutely crippling to their business. They can't make money, so they go out of business very fast. So with all of that in mind, let's take one more look at statistics, which is the cost of a cyber risk. Most people think that you're a small business and so the cost will be low. That's not true. Yes, on a one-off basis, each individual record is maybe $225 to replace or notify, So if your company has an email list of 1,000 names, that's, $225,000 just to notify those people. Do small businesses have that kind of protection? But it's also about ransomware attacks, which are going to lock down your system, extortion attacks, which are going to attempt to get to publish your data. All of these things, which we'll obviously talk about more in detail on later webinars, the costs add up really quickly. The average cost is roughly $1 million. All right, I'm hearing that you guys aren't seeing my screen. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. There you go.
Can you see it now?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to go back. These are my data points from the last slide. Thank you for letting me know. I apologize about that. All right, so I'm going to just go back forward to, it's about $1 million per claim. I will send out the slides to everybody, by the way, if you want them after this because of that, and I apologize again. I've used GoToWebinar 1,000 times. I cannot believe I'm having these issues today, and I apologize. All right, so why sell cyber liability insurance? Number one, there is a risk for all types of companies. I have seen farms and farming cooperatives have claims. I have seen retail stores and restaurants and corner stores. I have seen doctors' offices, dentists' offices. I've seen absolutely every company, manufacturing, small and large. Everybody is a target at this point for a cyber breach. And so it doesn't matter who your customer is, you have to try to prepare them. Obviously, the corollary to that is if you don't, what happens? Somebody's going to attempt to sell cyber liability to your customers, and you want it to be you. But also, it's a risk. It's a risk to your agency, and it's a risk to you personally if you don't provide cyber liability to a customer and then they have a claim. They could sue you and it would hit your agency, and that's a real problem that you don't need. And for an easy solution, which is just quote the cyber, whether they choose to purchase it or not, it moves you a step in the right direction. Now, furthering down that line, differentiating yourself is really important in our business, and cyber liability is a great way to do that. Cyber is complicated, and having the resources and knowledge necessary to sell it can be daunting. It gives you a huge leg up above your competition if you're armed with just a little bit of knowledge and a quote. It makes you look very sophisticated, and it makes the other person not look sophisticated. And of course, the last thing, which is really one of the toughest things, and we're going to do an entire webinar on this, so I don't want to touch on it too much, but just to say, existing coverages are not enough. People think that their credit card providers, their internet providers, their small business BOP is going to have coverage. In actuality, credit card providers are specifically laying the blame on the companies. Internet providers are not actually providing anything other than fraud response, and we'll talk more about that at a later date. And a BOP usually has something between a $50,000 and $100,000 limit, and it's only for the notification expenses. Believe it or not, notification expenses when you've had a data breach are the least expensive aspect of a cyber claim. It's your business interruption, it's your systems recovery, data recovery. Those are the things, lawsuits, those are the things that are going to end up making these $1 million, $2 million, $3 million claims. And so that $50,000 limit, it wouldn't scratch the surface if they ever actually had a data breach. And all of these are specifically going to not cover things like ransomware, social engineering, some of the hot topics you're reading about in trade journals and in the media. All right, so we talked a little bit about the industries. I just wanted to make you guys visually be able to understand what I'm talking about here. Real estate property managers, food and agriculture, media companies, telecom, anything financial related. The idea is this: if you have a website, if you accept credit cards, if you conduct any business online, and to take it one step further, if you rely on email to make your revenue. If you thought to yourself, my email goes down and I can't make money, then you need a cyber policy because that's going to cover that, a full-blown cyber policy. But what does this mean for you guys? So selling cyber can be complicated. The coverage itself has a vernacular all its own and is incredibly annoying to learn because it changes so frequently. Most major insurance companies, the Travelers, the Chubbs out there, they're going to give you this 10 to 15 page application and expect you to have it filled out by your customer. You're not going to understand 90% of the questions. Your insured isn't going to understand 90% of the questions. And it starts you off in a hole, which is they're going to think, if I don't even know how to fill this out, I don't need this kind of coverage. And that's the wrong way to think about it. Quotes can take a long time to come around, and turnaround time is a pain. Chasing down money for all your customers is a pain, and sometimes these policies are not going to be a huge amount of revenue to the agency, so really spending a lot of time on them isn't cost effective for your agency. And we've taken a look at all of these problems and we've attempted to really wipe each one off by using our platform. So what are we offering you guys? Number one, it's an admitted A+ insurance product by Access Insurance Company. It's a fully packaged cyber policy, which means it's going to have all the coverages available built in, so you don't need to think about whether or not the coverage that your customer needs is included in this policy. It is a 6-question application, which means you can quote it in under a minute, and the whole process, start to finish, will take less than 5 minutes. All the endorsements are handled online. Premiums are paid online. We will send your insured an email. They will click on a link and enter in their credit card or ACH information. And most importantly, we're here. We're here for you guys to help you sell. So that means if you have a question, whether it be about the application, the coverage, or anything else, we have live chat and a full-scale help desk to get you the answers in real time and help you better serve your customers and not waste time and energy on this coverage. So here's what we're proposing and why we are excited to talk to all of you. Now, some of you guys are agency owners and some of you guys are simply agents, but all of you guys are welcome to use our system. We're going to be hosting monthly webinars to train you and any of your colleagues on all the ins and outs of cyber liability insurance, how to sell it, what coverages are out there, what coverages mean, how to explain this stuff in a simple way to your customers. We're going to get you quoting on our system. We recommend you do it now. You'll see on your screen, one of the handouts is our new agent paperwork. Because of our relationship with First Choice, any First Choice member agency will have access to our system. All they have to do is fill out this information. And I will show you what that means in a second. We're going to pay you 15% commission to sell this product. So we're going to pay you probably more than anybody else out there. And we're going to make it easier for you to do it. So with that in mind, I'd like to show you what I'm talking about. I'd like to show you my system. It'll take me about 5 minutes and you'll be able to see exactly what I mean when I say it's easier to quote with us than anyone else. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Guys, if you have any questions about anything I'm saying, now is a great time. Okay, this is our system. It's an easy login, easy system. You'll notice just from off the bat that if you had to guess where to go to do something, you probably could. But right now I'm going to show you 2 important things. Well, 3. Number 1 is this lovely need help. I mentioned it. This is live chat. My staff is on it. East Coast hours, 8 to 5. Most of the time we'll have it until 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you're on the phone with a customer and they have a question, or you're working on an account, then this is going to follow with you and we'll keep records of everything. It's really easy, and it'll cut down your work by quite a bit. Now let me just show you how quick and easy it is to quote a new piece of business. Now you'll notice again it says 1 of 6. We got 6 questions and one of them is what do they do? So you're going to pick what they do. If it's a doctor's office, they do healthcare. But let's say you're not sure. A business classification comes up, And you can either use the NAIC code or you can type it in with plain language and find exactly what you're looking for. But I'm going to show you what a doctor's office looks like. So this is question 2. Who are they? Now, we have linked into Google Maps so that you don't ever have to type out a whole address. It sounds silly, but in reality, that's just one more thing you don't have to deal with. Why type in the address? Now we're going to ask about their revenue. It's a doctor's office in a small town. Let's make them incredibly successful and say $1 million. All right, we ask what kind of records do they maintain? This is our one and only underwriting question, guys. And if you scroll over the blue words, it's going to explain what we're asking. So we're asking, do they keep healthcare records? Examples include medical history, medical reports, insurance information. So yes, but you know, nobody knows this number off the top of their head. Most often they're going to know they have a band. This is a small doctor's office. You don't even need to ask them. They do not have 100,000 records. We're going to ask about personal information records and credit cards. Again, this is a doctor's office. They definitely take credit cards. But how many? Well, it's a small town doctor's office, less than 20,000. And then we're asking if they accept credit cards, are they PCI compliant? Now, this is a term we're going to talk about in future webinars, but I'll just state that it is the baseline security measures that all credit card processors must follow. And if they use a reputable credit card processor, the answer to this question is yes. Now we ask if they've ever had a data breach before. And we're going to say no, and we're going to ask if they've ever had a cyber liability claim before. And since most people haven't ever had cyber coverage before, the answer is usually no. And that's it, 6 of 6. This is a bindable quote that you're looking at right now. They can choose between any of the limit options that we're offering, and standard comes $1, $2, and $3 million limit options. You'll notice that all of the coverages that are available are automatically included, so you don't have to pick and choose. All you have to do is select the limit for them and click purchase coverage. If you need to print a quote letter, you just click view quote letter. It's going to pop up on your screen, but what else it's going to do? It's going to email a PDF of this to you. No need to download documents, no need to click on things. Everything is completely streamlined for you. You can drag and drop this into an agency management system. You can email this to an insured, anything you need. And if you want to purchase it, you just click purchase coverage. You select your limit options and you give us the billing contact and email of the person that's the insured, and we're going to send them an email and they're going to pay for it. They have 2 weeks to pay for it, and as soon as they do, the policy documents will be emailed directly to you, the agent, for delivery to the customer. And that's as simple as and easy as it is for us to write this coverage. So I'd like to take some questions if anybody has them. Diane, did I forget to mention anything?
No, I think that's good. Let's just share with them how we get the paperwork to us, to you, to get the agencies contracted.
No problem. On your screen and in a follow-up, you're going to receive our new agency paperwork. Download it now, have your agency fill it out and send it to Diane. When you do that, we will get you access to this system, and we can host webinars like this and training seminars. Plus we have some videos that we can send around to train your staff and your coworkers on how to use the system and how to get quoting. All right, we do have a question. Technically, we're a software platform. Wingman, the question is Wingman a carrier or a broker? Technically, we're a software platform. We are licensed as an MGA for legal reasons. The carrier is Access Insurance Company. They're A+15 rated. They have amazing claims handling. They're a wonderful carrier. So we really are just the facilitator here. We found a great product out there that had a really annoying distribution system, the old way, you know, a 5-page application, email it to somebody you've never met, blah, blah, blah. And we automated the whole process and are able to offer it to you guys so that you can quote quickly and efficiently and not have to answer questions or run into the usual hassles of quoting insurance. But so that's
Ellie,
a
did
good,
you go over commission structure?
yeah, commission structure, 15% to agents. All right, payment plans. Okay, that's a great question. I just got a question about payment plans and how people can pay. You can pay via ACH or credit card. It is full pay only if the cost of the insurance is less than $2,500. Once it goes over $2,500, you also have the option of quarterly or monthly installments. But for small accounts, it's just full pay upfront. And I will mention, because I do think I forgot to mention this, that we do not issue a policy until we've received a payment, which means your insured has 14 days after the effective date to pay it and up to 30 days before the effective date to pay it. If they miss that window, and they'll get about 100 emails reminding them to pay their bill. So this doesn't happen often. If they miss that, we'll have to change the effective date, but we have great ways to do this. Okay, I just got another really great question. What's the claims process? And can I walk through how claims are handled from start to finish? Yeah, it's really amazing. And I'll show you something really cool while I'm doing it. So there is a wonderful tool section down here. It's going to have things like the full application if you ever need it, data breach event hotline, and I'll talk about that in a second, and additional resources. To report a claim, here's the information. You're going to email this, and here's a phone number. We also provide you and to your insureds, and I'm going to find it now, this one sheet in our set of one sheets that gives you exactly the name. Her name is Elizabeth Newman. She's the head of cyber claims at Access Insurance Company. Her office number and her mobile number. And I say that because cyber liability is an of the essence claim. You cannot wait around. It's like calling the fire department. When you have a fire, you don't try to put it out yourself first and then call the fire department. Because cyber is such of the essence, we have lawyers on standby 24/7, and there's 3 sets of them that specialize in nothing but cyber liability claims. They're going to help you select vendors. They're going to deploy resources for you. They're going to lay out a plan in real time as soon as you think that there's a data breach. And it takes all of the pressure off of the insured and puts it on the insurance company to make sure that everything gets deployed as fast as possible and the business gets back up and running as fast as possible. So if you think you've had a claim, you're going to call Elizabeth Newman or any one of the lawyers listed on this sheet, or you're going to call the toll-free number here. It's going to immediately trigger the claims process. They're going to get data forensics people. They're going to get breach notification people. They're going to get IT people in your office to fix things right away so that you don't have a continued problem. All right, one more question. Is it E&S or admitted? It's fully admitted. I think there's 2 states we can't write in, Vermont and Alaska. I don't think that's an issue for anybody on this call. Does my product include coverage for property? Okay, so that's a really good question. There is no BIPD, bodily injury property damage coverage in this policy. That is actually one of the things that is covered by a BOP. However, if the computer system goes down that's controlling it, that technically speaking would be covered from a business interruption standpoint, but not the actual boiler system itself. That would be covered by the boiler. Are there any claims scenarios, brochures, or FAQs? Yes, we have lots and lots of claims scenarios, brochures, or FAQs, and you'll see that there's some information in the handouts that are attached here. We'll be providing much more information in future webinars, and once you get started, you will have access to all of these one sheets that you see on my sliding across my screen now that have lots of great examples on them. And because we like to treat this as a partnership, if there's anything specific that you need, you let us know, and we'll do everything in our power to get it to you efficiently so that you can deploy it to your clients. So once again, in the handout section is going to be some one sheets that are going to help you sell cyber. There's also your new agent paperwork that we're going to need to get filled out to get you access to the system. We pay our commissions via ACH transfer to you guys on a monthly basis, 15%. So one of the, it's an authorization form as well as a tax form. These are really great questions. Okay, there is not an annual premium commitment. You will have access to the system once we give you access. You will have access to our learning center, to us personally, and to all of our webinars once you become a part of the Wingman family. We do not require an annual premium commitment. We have found that when agencies start using this, they're certainly not going to go back to filling out a 14-page application and emailing it to Chubb. So we don't really need a premium commitment from anybody. That being said, if you ever needed help or wanted to work specifically with training or anything else, we're happy to do that to get you guys writing more business. What's the max amount of sales for eligibility? Well, I quoted one yesterday that was $995 million in revenue. So we don't have one. I will say the bread and butter, what will automatically sail through our underwriting system is 50 million in revenue or below. But if it's more than 100 million in revenue, we ask for you to fill out a 3-page application to go along with our 6-question application. And that's all we need. Guys, great questions. Any other questions? All right, so our next webinar is going to be in a month. It's going to be about cyber coverages and cyber sales tips. So we hope that you all will be there. Also, if any of you guys are going to be attending the conference in November, I will be there to answer any questions and do a little song and dance about cyber and the importance of selling cyber. If any of you guys also want some one-on-one time or some training for your employees, please reach out to Diane at the First Choice Agents Alliance. We are happy to help with anything that you guys need and are really excited to get you guys quoting and writing a lot more cyber business in 2019. Diane,
great. Thanks, Ellie. Appreciate it. Well, appreciate your time. We're looking forward to the relationship.
Thank you very much to everybody for attending, and I apologize for the snafu at the beginning, but I promise next time we'll get it in much better shape. And you'll be getting a recording of this afterwards if you need to send it around. So thank you again very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next month.
All right, thank you.